So, dear friends, good morning. Today is the 28th of July, the year 2022, and we are in Upper Hamlet in the Still Waters Meditation Hall. Let us listen to 3 sounds of the bell. As we listen to the 3 sounds of the bell, we can put into practice the story we've just heard that was told to the children. We can come back to the country of the present moment, to come back to our body, come back to what is going on in our mind, and we can take care of our body. We can take care of what is going on in our body, what is going on in our mind in this moment, simply by coming back to our breathing. As we feel the breath coming in and out, it's like a complete relaxation for our body. And as we are breathing in and out, we're also smiling to the thoughts, to the feelings that are coursing through our body at this moment. Good morning, dear community. Here in Plum Village, we believe very much that we can. It's possible to transmit to the children the deep teachings of interbeing, of no birth, no death, teachings on how to handle a strong emotion. And the children can learn this at a very early age, how to do so. And sometimes I feel it's a bit easier to transmit to the children than it is to the adults, because I think we have many, many ideas. And a part of the training in coming to a practice center is to also learn how to let go of our ideas, empty ourselves of some of the ideas that we have, especially ideas about ourselves, about others, about the world, about how we are in the world, about how we should be. Many, many, many different ideas and notions. So the Buddhist practice, many of the practices that we offer, is to help us to let go of ideas, especially ideas about a self, a lifespan, a separate existence, ideas about happiness, especially ideas about happiness as well. Um, and you might have experienced in the past week, and I hope you've been able to put into practice many of the practices here, especially how to bring mindfulness into our daily lives. And you might have discovered that Plum Village, the practice here is very much present-centered. Present-centered. We can learn a lot by coming back to the present moment. We can learn a lot about ourselves, about our bodies, the state of our body. We can learn a lot about our grievances, our difficulties, our suffering, simply by coming back to the present moment. We have such a habit of not being in the present moment. And maybe because it's so difficult sometimes to be in the present moment, there's so much. Sometimes we find it overwhelming to come back to the present moment. Sometimes the present moment for us is too unpleasant, and it's difficult to come back to the present moment because of all of the difficulties we might face when we come back to the present moment, come back and really recognize what's going on for us in the present moment. So it's unpleasant. We don't want to be there. We have a tendency to run away from the present moment. Sometimes we come back to the present moment and there's a lot of joy and happiness. And some of us are capable of coming back to the present moment and touching the joy and happiness. Some of us feel guilty when we touch joy and happiness in the present moment. Maybe because there was a big suffering in our past. We feel if we're touching joy and happiness right now, we just feel guilty. We almost feel undeserving. Or we feel the future is so bleak. The future is so bleak. How can I be joyful and happy now? How can I just be in the present moment with all this joy and happiness? Shouldn't I be doing something for the future? Shouldn't I take more concrete action? Why am I feeling happy right now? Shouldn't I be taking care of my future? Shouldn't I spend all my energy to take care of the future? So there's so many different ways that we are relating to the present moment. And in Plum Village, we are training every day to learn how to be in the present moment, and to turn the present moment into a peaceful moment, one that is pleasant, that we can be in, one that we can take refuge in. And we're learning how to be in such a moment, in the present moment, in such a way that we can handle what is going on in the present moment. And when we learn how to handle what is there in the present moment, when we learn how to handle our joy and happiness well in the present moment, when we learn how to cultivate joy and happiness in the present moment, this is a kind of legacy we can transmit to our children. It's a real skill to be able to generate joy and happiness, knowing that our future is uncertain, but we're still capable of generating joy and happiness in the present moment, because it is available. It is available right now, right here. And learning how to handle a difficult emotion, a strong emotion, a painful moment. We can also pass that on to our children and to all those around us. So we want to be able to handle the present moment well. And here we say that if we can handle the present moment well, we've already done everything we can for the future. You may not believe this right now at this moment. And I think there may be a lot of doubts running through your mind as you hear this. If you handle the present moment well, if we can handle the present moment well, when we can handle the present moment well, we're already doing everything we can for the future. So today I don't know how much time I have, but today I would like to share with you some different ways of looking at ourselves, of seeing us in the present moment and how we are connected to the world at large. In the Buddhist teachings, there are teachings of what we call the 7 bodies. Some schools, they say we have 5 bodies, some 3 bodies, some more. But Tay, he taught us about the seven bodies, and I'd like to take some time today to kind of share with you what are these 7 bodies and how we practice with them. And how we practice in order to take care of these bodies and take care of these bodies well in the present moment, so that we know that we have we know that we can take care of the future. So, the first body, you might be surprised that you have up to 7 bodies because you think, oh, I only have 1 body. The first body we refer to is the human body. We all have a body. We all have a body. And our human body is quite wonderful, with all of its wonders, with all of its pain, all of its difficulties, with all of itself. The human body is a wonder. And so we have a human body, we have a body. And very often we forget that we have a body. So practicing mindfulness, simply something like practicing walking meditation, incorporating walking meditation into our everyday lives. And if we cannot walk, we can also practice movement, moving through space with this human body in our everyday life. It's quite a miracle. And each movement we're able to make, each step that we're able to make, we can recognize the miracle of that step. The hundreds and thousands of years of evolution in order to get us to be able to walk in that way is quite a miracle. Everything that goes on in the body as we're taking a step, all of the muscles and the mini calculations and the, I don't know, all the ATP working. It's quite a miracle that we can take a step, that we can walk, that we can move from one place to another. So when we're practicing walking meditation or walking, we can come back to our bodies. And right away, we can see the miracle. We can get in touch with the miracle of our body. We can get in touch with the miracle of being alive in this body. The human body is miraculous, and we have to learn how to take care of it. When we work on the computer for many, many hours a day, very often we forget that we have a body. When we are watching something for many hours at a time, we forget that we have a body. So learning how to take care of the human body by the way of eating, sleeping. Many of us sacrifice our sleep because we think we have to do something. We have to accomplish something. There's so much to do, and our society is pushing us to lose sleep more and more. Not just through the kinds of forms of entertainment that is available to us right now, but also the amount of workload, etc. And we have to really take a moment to step back and to say, how much can my body handle? The amount of work that I'm taking on, how much can my body handle and still be fresh, regenerative, my energy fully restored every day. Yeah. So we have to look into the body, the human body, and also look into the ways in which we are taking care of our human body. I hope you've had a chance to enjoy total relaxation while you were here in Plum Village. Walking meditation, sitting meditation, eating meditation. They're all ways in which we can take care of the human body as well. For me, I have been experiencing a bit of insomnia for quite a few years already. Yes, we do. Also have, ailments and things like that. And I find what really, really helps me to regenerate, restore my energy is walking meditation. Every time I walk from one place to another, I make sure my body is completely relaxed. And also I'm there in each step. And I take in the nourishment from the nature. I feel the earth under my feet. And I feel restored somehow. So the insomnia has not affected me so much yet. We'll see. I know that it accumulates, but I won't worry about that. It's in the future. Right now, my body, I feel okay. And when we practice with the human body, sometimes we have to check in with our bodies right here and right now. How is my body feeling? And we have to have ways. Here in Plum Village, we've had heard sounds of the bell throughout the day, sounds of many different bells, and each time we're able to come back to our body. So when you go home in your daily life, what are the different ways in which you can check in with your body every single day, many times a day? And what's funny is sometimes a bell has been invited, I go back to my body, I know there's tension on my shoulders, etc. I relax it. And then maybe I walk into the hall, and 5 minutes later, 15 minutes later, there's another sound of the bell to start the activity. And just within 15 minutes, tension had already accumulated in my body. So I have to relax it again. I have to release the tension again. And throughout the day, I'm learning how to release tension. So don't wait until the total relaxation session to come back and take care of the human body. You can be very creative in doing this. At a stoplight, perfect time, come back, relax the body, release the tension, etc. Many, many moments before we go to bed. Even when I wake up in the morning, I take a moment. You had a few hours of sleep, but I still take a moment to check in with my body. How's it feeling after some hours of rest? And we can discover so much about our bodies when we come back to it. So the second body we have is the Buddha body. How can I have a Buddha body when I'm not even Buddhist? No. The Buddha body simply means your awakened nature. Everyone has a Buddha body because we all have the capacity to wake up, to be enlightened about something. So the Buddha body is very much about the capacity to wake up to what is going on in the present moment. What is going on for ourselves, our families, our society, or the earth. So the Buddha body, we all have a Buddha body. And we can find many different ways in order to help the Buddha body shine more. When we practice mindfulness throughout our day, how we drink tea, that is also waking up the Buddha body. The way we drink tea, we're aware of the tea, we see the tea, we recognize the cloud in the tea, we recognize the preciousness of this water. Even having boiled water. Right nowadays, when I drink boiled water, hot water, I realize what a privilege it is to even something so simple as to drink hot tea, coffee, boiled water. The energy it takes to boil water, and that energy is still at our disposal. We still have it, although we have to think about that as well. So drinking tea can in mindfulness can help us to be awakened to many things as well. The scarcity of water, the energy consumption, energy consumption. How we walk can also awaken the Buddha body in us. Waking up to the miracles that are available inside and around us as we're walking. The beauty of nature, the birds singing. Some days when I'm walking through a patch of forest, and normally in that patch of forest I hear many birds. It's like the birds are always singing all the time. And then suddenly, one day I don't hear it anymore. Hear them, because there's many of them. There may be a storm coming, or I think, if the birds cease to sing, it would be so sad. So then I give an aspiration to do everything I can to protect this patch of forest and to make sure that the birds still have some trees to take refuge in, something like that. So the Buddha body, we can help it shine. It's our capacity to awaken. And every one of us, we have this body. The third body is what we call the community body. We all have communities, whether that community is our family or our local communities. When you are sitting here in this hall, you belong to the Plum Village community. So there's all kinds of communities that we belong to. And Tay, he always spoke about building Sangha, building communities, because Tay was very aware that without Sangha, without community, he wouldn't be able to his teachings wouldn't be able to go very far. And the Buddha himself was also very aware of this. And so the Buddha, he spent much of his life after I'm shy about using the word enlightenment because it gets people caught. After he became quote unquote enlightened, he found a way, I would say, after he found a way of being that he could transmit to people, a way of handling our suffering and handling our despair. And after he had found a way, a path, he had invested much of his life into building community, building Sangha. And it was thanks to the Sangha that the Buddha was able to travel very far and that his teachings were able to spread very far. And Tay, the other day, a child asked, was Plum Village built? What was the beginning of that? Oh, and I sat there and I was thinking, I think Plum Village was built on a very beautiful aspiration. An aspiration to build brotherhood and sisterhood. An aspiration to build community in order to have a support system for our engagement in the world. And so having community is extremely important. Martin Luther King, he called this community the beloved community. He had a dream of building a beloved community. And so every time our teacher, Tay, he spoke about building community, he would also say, I am continuing Martin Luther King's dream of building a beloved community. And so community is very important for our engaged action in the world. We need the support. And I think coming here, you feel that already in our small Dharma sharing families. We already have a small community to be able to kind of share with, reflect with. And when we speak about mindfulness and how to practice mindfulness, community is very good because in terms of deepening our insights and deepening our understanding of ourselves, community is essential because we need the mirroring, we need the reflection. If you want to know if you're practicing well or not, just ask your Sangha, ask your community, ask your partner. If you want to know you're practicing well or not, ask your children, ask your partner, ask your community, and they'll tell you. They'll tell you. So, in taking refuge in community, each one of us has a community body, and we can learn to take care of this community body as well. Finding moments of coming together, sharing practice, sharing insights are all ways of nourishing our community body. After this summer retreat, in Plum Village, we have a few lazy days. So the brothers and sisters have planned like some trips to the mountains and things like that. And these are all ways of also nurturing, nourishing the community body. And also having these retreats is a way of nourishing the community body as well. Because each one of your transformation is food. It's food for the community. Your joy, your insights as you're here, it's all food for the community. So community body. The fourth body is the body outside of the body. Can you recognize your body outside of your body? This body. But can you recognize your body outside of your body? Tay often says that his calligraphies and his books are his bodies outside of his body. One of his calligraphies hanging on someone's home, in the wall of someone's home. And as the person passes to and from that calligraphy every day, that's Tay saying things like, "Are you sure?" Or "Breathe, my dear." Or so those messages in the calligraphy, they're Tay. Tay is right there saying those things to everyone who passes by. So the calligraphy is his body outside of his body. Yeah. His books too, many of us read them. And they are Tay's body outside of his physical body. And we may also recognize our bodies in our parents. We may recognize ourselves in our parents. Our parents are also our bodies outside of our bodies. Our children are our bodies outside of our bodies. Can you see that? Yeah? Fun. So we have the body outside the body. And then we have the continuation body. What we call the continuation body. We can see our body, physical body here, as kind of like a generator of action. In Buddhism, we speak of karma, and many people misunderstand the word karma. But karma simply means action. Action of body, speech, and mind. Thoughts. So each moment we are producing energy. We are producing action. We're producing thoughts. We're producing words. We're producing action. Each moment we are producing action. And our actions go out in the world. And like Tay says, they bear our signature. They have our signature. When we say something, it carries our signature. When we do something, that action carries our signature. Sometimes when I hear something, for instance, one time I was Tay's attendant. And one time I was Tay's attendant, and we were just walking around Deer Park Monastery, and there's this bamboo grove, golden bamboos. It's green and it has golden streaks. I don't know if you've seen those bamboos before, but they're quite beautiful. And then Tay came by. We were passing by one of the bamboo patches, and he touched the bamboo and he said, "My child, this is consciousness." And I was taken aback because really I didn't know what he was talking about. And then I was a novice, barely learning about Buddhist psychology. So I'm like, okay, that's consciousness, you know. And but I remembered what he said. This is consciousness, and he also said, "This is learning. This is learning." And his words continued in me. I remember them, and then day by day by day, I feel like they ripen. They've taken on a life of their own inside of me. So Tay's words are not just his, but they came in, and I can't tell you exactly what Tay means, and because still I'm trying to figure it out until this day. But it gave me a little bit of a window in understanding when we speak about consciousness, what it is, or the limitations of our views on consciousness. What Tay said, I'm like, maybe my view about what consciousness is limited. And especially what he said about, this is learning. And very often I look at the trees, the animals, even the minerals, the oceans, the rivers, etc. And I think, yeah, there's learning. There's learning there. Well, especially, I'm not sure about rivers yet. I'm not there. But I feel when I look at trees or animals, etc., I do see that there's learning. There's learning happening at every moment. And as humans, we have been learning. We have been learning since the very beginning. Learning all the time to adapt, to do things in a way in order to adapt to the environment, to be able to survive. Even right now, we are learning, and we've learned many things throughout the millennial. Many things. Some very, very helpful, some not so very helpful things. But we continue to learn. So anyhow, what Tay said about, this is consciousness, this is learning, and I think, I am continuing to learn. And as humans, we are continuing to learn. So our continuation body, in terms of actions, so that was just what Tay said, but you sitting here, you can imagine all of the things that you've ever heard in your entire life and how they've continued in you, whether it was someone just giving a simple compliment, and actually sometimes a compliment at the right time, it makes or breaks your life almost. You know, it can take you into a whole different trajectory. So actions, they continue. The words, they continue. Our what we do, they continue. And they don't just continue as that alone, but they continue to ripen in the other person. It's not like It's not like I pass you a note and then the note is preserved for all time. That note, that action continues to evolve and continues to grow, continues to ripen. So we have a continuation body. And how is our continuation body in the world? So we have to learn how to recognize ourselves not just in this body, but how we continue in the people around us, in our children, in our parents, in our families. Through our actions, we are continuing. Especially when we have maybe a loved one who has passed away or is about to pass away. Can we recognize how they have continued in our lives? Not just in us, in our thinking, in our feelings, etc., but how they've continued in the space to define, how they've continued to define the spaces around us, how they've continued in the people around us. So recognizing our continuation, recognizing, training ourselves to see ourselves and our loved ones as continuations. I was very happy that I was exposed to these teachings before my father passed away. Because the moment that he passed, also the moment that Tay passed, we were able to recognize his continuation so easily in the community, in each one of the monastics, how his being, his teachings still continue. And even how Plum Village retreats are run. Whenever we have a summer retreat, I think, oh, that's Tay manifesting. That's Tay's continuation. Because actually, the schedule is Tay's brilliant idea. How we kind of run the retreats is Tay's brilliant ideas. And so he continues. And of course, in terms of physical, you've all had a chance to spread some of his ashes, remnants, his bones on the land of Plum Village. So he will continue he is continuing in the trees, in the forests, in the pathways, in the buildings. He's very much present. So learning how to recognize continuation, our continuation body. The sixth body is the cosmic body. When we eat, there's a calligraphy in our dining halls. This bread is the body of the cosmos. This bread is made possible by the sun, the rain, the moon. The whole entire cosmos has come together to make that piece of bread possible. And it's the same with us. Every moment, the whole entire cosmos is coming together to support our existence. We have a training, we have a gata that we practice while we're serving our food. Looking deeply at this food, I see the entire cosmos supporting my existence. So it's something that we kind of read, recite mentally as we're serving our food. And in the food, we see the entire cosmos. So every moment we are in exchange, a wonderful exchange with the entire cosmos. Every moment we take in something of the cosmos. Every moment we return to the cosmos. And it's a wonderful exchange. It's a wonderful exchange. So learning how to recognize our cosmic body in order to recognize our exchange with the universe, with the cosmos, with the earth. In our food contemplations too, every time you eat a meal and you practice the 5 contemplations, you can see this, put this cosmic body into practice. Every time you take a shower, you can also put the cosmic body into practice. Every time you use the toilet, it's also an exchange with the cosmos. And you can imagine that we are one wave on the ocean, and everything else in the cosmos are all the other waves, right? And you are in all the other waves, and all the other waves are in you. So that is the cosmic body. The 7th body is called the ultimate body. Or you can say the true nature of the cosmos body. The ultimate body is the true nature of the cosmos body. And we have this body. When we look at the waves on the ocean, it may have its up, a wave may have its up and down, is coming and going, is being and non-being, may have its highs and lows. And it may be fearful when it may be joyful when it's going up. It may be afraid when it's going down. It may be afraid when it's disappearing. But if the wave recognizes that it's water, suddenly all fear disappears, because the wave is the water itself. Coming up, it can be joyful. Going down, it can also be joyful, because it is already water. It doesn't have to go and look for the water. Imagine if the wave goes and looks for water. Its whole life it goes and looks for its ultimate body. It doesn't have to, because it is already. The wave is already the ocean. The wave is already the water. So our ultimate body, we can also think of it like that. The ultimate body transcends all notions of birth and death, coming and going. And for us, when we touch the present moment deeply, when we come back and we look deeply into our bodies, we can touch the ultimate body. When we take a step, when we're walking around Plum Village, taking a step, we're walking in the historical dimension, right? We're walking in the historical dimension. But when we come back to the present moment deeply, and we take that step in the historical dimension deeply, we can touch the ultimate dimension. Each step that we're not making alone. We're making with a whole stream of ancestors, not just our blood ancestors, but all of the animal, plants, and mineral ancestors as well. So you're taking a step, and it looks like you are taking the step, but at the same time, there's a whole ancestry, and there are many, many streams taking the step with you. So while walking in the historical, we can touch deeply the ultimate. We can see the step, the earth that we're walking on is not just earth. It's also the bones of many, 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 many species as well. Looking deeply into the flower, for instance, we're not just looking at an orchid. We're looking at so orchid is conventional designation. Everybody sees the orchid and says orchid in their mind, in your mind. But when we look deeply into it, we can see the sun, the stars, the moon, the earth, the orchid farmer. Now we have many orchid farmers around. Before there weren't that many, etc. The parents of the orchid farmer. We can see the whole universe when looking into the orchid, so we can touch the ultimate body of the orchid. And the orchid, did it just come to be there today in this very short few months, or was it there before? How did the orchid begin? And then we can touch the deeper truth of the orchid, and that the orchid is made of non-orchid elements. Just as when we're walking, we can see that we are made of non-us elements. The present moment is also made of non-present moment elements, including the past and the future. And also, so maybe to understand this ultimate body better, we can look at our concept of time. Many of us, we think of time as linear, right? And all of our education, we've been presented, time has been presented to us as something very linear. If you look at someone's biographical timeline, it's always vertical or horizontal, with this happening here, and then this, and then this, and then this, etc. Always in very linear, very linear. And when we think about our own life as well, we think of it in very linear terms. Like, oh, this is the moment where we were born in whatever date it is. And this is the moment that we die right here, whatever date it is. And because we think in linear terms, we think, this is the moment we're born. So before this, we didn't exist. And we only existed during this time right here, between our birth and our death. This is the time where we exist in this world. Then after we die, we cease to be. So this is very often how we think about birth and death. We think from non-being, we become something, being. And from something, we become nothing again, non-being. Non-being. And when we think of birth and death in this way, there's so much fear because everybody fears non-existence. There's an unknown. We fear non-being. So we have a tendency to think of our lifespan as this very linear thing. But when we look deeply into this point, birth, where did we actually begin? Was it our birthday, or was it the day that our parents conceived us? Or were we already there before that? In our mother, in our father, and dating back in our grandparents, etc. So when did we actually come into being? We can push this B date way back, and we probably, to infinity. You can push this B point way back to infinity. Here in Plum Village, we have a tradition. When it's someone's birthday, we don't say happy birthday, we say happy continuation. Because to say happy birthday is to be stuck on these ideas of birth and death. Instead, it's not a true birth, but a true continuation. We only continue. We only continue. So the Buddhist concept of time is much better represented as a circle. It's not linear. It's a crooked circle. But okay, good enough. I'm not an artist. So the Buddhist concept of time, much better represented as a circle. We can see the present moment, and we can think of the present moment as like, you can imagine a slideshow, and here the present moment is manifesting before our eyes as one quote-unquote slide. And then the future is coming to us. The present moment is gone. It becomes the past, right? A past slide. Okay. Well, this is a very old projector. Nowadays, you have digital slideshows. So you don't have this projector thing anymore. But, so you have to use your imagination. I grew up in these projector times, so I'm using this example. And Tay used this example, so I just pass it on to you. So this present moment, it becomes the past, right? And then you have the future slide coming to you, right here. And it will become the present. The future will become the present, right? And when we look at the present moment in terms of action, all of our actions of body, speech, and mind, all of our so we say the present moment is a ripening of all actions. The present moment is a ripening of actions of body, speech, and mind. So it's whatever actions it is ripening and it's manifesting in this moment. And then it becomes the past, right? But in a slideshow, this circles down, around, because your actions continue to ripen. Our actions continue to ripen in ourselves and in our environment. And so at one point, those actions ripen and they come back and they become the present moment again. Sometimes it could be very quick, this ripening, this action. For instance, when someone smiles to you, and then you smile in return. That action, it ripens, and you receive the ripening of that action right away. Sometimes it takes much longer. For me, I think it takes 2 or 3 days sometimes for me to smile in return. But it comes around. It comes around. Or it could be something you've heard in a Dharma talk or in a Dharma sharing. You didn't understand it the first day, but now you have a different understanding of it. So that ripening, that action has a different ripening in the present moment, right? So anyhow, the Buddhist concept of time is better represented as a circle because we can see that actions of body, speech, and mind continue to ripen in the world, continue to come back to us in the present moment. Nothing is lost. Nothing is lost. And so when we think about the future, is the future unknown? What kind of future are we headed towards? We can see a lot of it in the present already, and in how we are taking care of the present moment. How we are taking care of the present moment will come back to us and ripen. Will come back, will become the future. Don't think the future is coming towards us and we're walking towards this linear future unknown. The past is behind us. The present moment is only here. The past is behind us. We're walking towards the past. We're walking towards a ripening of action, right? So it's very important for each one of us to learn how to take care of the present moment, to learn how to be able to handle, if we have despair, how do we handle despair right now? If we are experiencing depression, how do we handle our depression? How do we take care of our depression right now? If we have a strong emotion, how do we take care of our strong emotion? Because these are the things that will come back to us. We will inherit these actions. Exactly how you take care of your strong emotion right now, it will come back to you, right? Especially, you can see it in the children. In the past, when every time we spoke about the future, at least every time I spoke about the future and helping people to manage anxiety about the future or uncertainty about the future, it was always with the idea that the future was there. There was a future, and it was just a matter of how we manage our anxiety about the future and how we could handle it so we could be a certain way in the future. But now more and more, I see that when we speak about the future, for so many, and especially for the young ones too, they don't see a future. They don't know that there's a future. So it's not even about managing anxiety about the future anymore. They don't know that they have a future. And because we don't know if our civilization will survive or not. What we do know is that in the past, many civilizations have come and gone. Many civilizations have come and gone. And maybe ours is the same. Maybe ours our civilization will also come and go. And we have to accept that, actually. When we have that acceptance that, yes, what makes us so exceptional that our civilization will survive into infinity? Because in the past, all civilizations have come and gone. But the issue is, what can we do about it? It's like hearing someone, our loved one, is about to die, or like not even about to die, but knowing that one day our loved ones will die. And then we just get caught up in the fear and anxiety of our loved ones dying one day, that we kind of withhold our love, our joy, of being together with our loved ones. We kind of stop investing our energy into making this relationship beautiful now and enjoying this relationship now. And we just think of the death of that person one day. So with our death, the death of our own civilization too, will we be so caught up in our anxieties and fear about end of civilization that we give up right now, that we stop investing in making the present moment beautiful, in making our relationship with Mother Earth beautiful, with our children beautiful, because the beauties of the planet are still there. The beauties of everyone around us are still there. So are we able to come back to the present moment and to touch these beauties, these wonders? That's the question. And we know that if we are able to do that, when we're able to do that, that is the exact kind of skill that we pass on to our children. It's a kind of adaptation that we are passing on to future generations. Because we can adapt to the current situation in one of two ways. We can be like sucked into the whirlpool of anxiety and fear and despair, or sucked into the whirlpool of doing, more action, more speed, more this or more that, so much to the point that we're like not sustainable. So our world is moving very fast, and to adapt to it, do we want to move just as fast as it or more in order to keep ahead of the curve? We know that when we do that, it's not sustainable for us or for the planet. So we can adapt in that way, and it's very possible. But we can also adapt in a different way. We can adapt by resisting. We can adapt by resisting. We can adapt by stopping. And this, I think this whole week we've learned how to do many different ways. We've learned how to adapt, how to slow down a little bit. How do we walk in such a way that we can resist this kind of push in our society to go faster, to go, to be at speed and at scale, etc. We know that there are things that we need to do in order to address climate change, etc. But the most important thing I feel we need to do is also to awaken to a way of being. Like, how do we want to live this moment? How do we want to live our lives right now so there's more peace, more sanity, more joy, more happiness? And we can choose. Just by the way you walk, you can choose. You can choose to run into the supermarket, or you can choose to, take your time. You can choose to resist that running energy. You can choose to live simply. You can choose to say, I have enough, rather than I need more cars, I need more homes, I need more money, I need more. We can choose to say, I have enough. And these are the kinds of things we can pass on to our children. These are the kinds of ways that we can continue in the world as well. So looking into the different bodies, the 7 bodies are just ways to help us to touch interbeing, to touch the ways in which we are all interconnected. And looking deeply into each of those bodies, also how we take care of them, we can already recognize how we will continue. What kind of future is moving towards us? Yeah. What kind of future are we walking into, or what kind of future is coming to us? What kind of past is coming to us? Maybe that's a better question. What past are we walking into? So then we see clearly taking care of the present moment is quite essential. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here this morning and for being a part of our summer opening. It's been such a joy to have all of you here, and this summer opening was cut short by 2 weeks. Normally we have 4 weeks, so we would have had 2 more weeks of welcoming guests. But this year was very. It was such a joy to be able to open up again and to kind of test the limits, the capacity of our community. And so I think for all of the brothers and sisters, we've been very grateful that you've chosen to come at this time, and we hope that you can continue to nourish yourselves, your presence, your practice, and we hope to see you again someday, here or there. We have many different bodies to connect with one another. We will continue to connect through our continuation bodies, our practice bodies, community bodies, online or in person. Thank you very much.